This image captures one of the most chilling moments in human history. The opening of Tutankhamun's tomb. For more than 3,000 years, this tomb lay hidden beneath the sands of the Valley of the Kings, untouched by grave robbers, earthquakes, or time itself. When archaeologists finally broke the seal in 1922, they uncovered something no one had ever seen before. A royal Egyptian tomb almost completely intact. Inside was unimaginable wealth. Walls stacked with golden shrines, chariots frozen in time, jewelry crafted for eternity, sacred statues, ritual furniture, weapons, and symbols meant to guide a king safely into the afterlife. It was the greatest archaeological discovery of all time. But the celebration didn't last long. Soon after the tomb was opened, something unsettling began to happen. At least 13 people connected to the excavation died under strange or sudden circumstances. Death strikes Pharaoh's tomb. Ancient curse unleashed. And just like that, the legend of the Curse of the Pharaohs was born. When archaeologist Howard Carter and his patron Lord George Carnarvon finally stepped inside the tomb in November 1922, they expected a vast underground palace worthy of a god king. Instead, they found themselves standing in a small, cramped chamber, cluttered with objects piled on top of one another. It looked less like a royal tomb and more like a storage room. Even more puzzling was the tomb's location. Tutankhamun was buried far away from the grand tombs of his royal ancestors. According to Egyptian belief, this separation could prevent the pharaoh from reuniting with his family in the afterlife, an unthinkable fate for a divine ruler. Some historians argue that the Valley of the Kings simply ran out of space, but that explanation raises an even bigger question. Why didn't one of the most powerful beings in Egypt have a proper tomb prepared at all? Second-hand coffins for a divine king. Tutankhamun's body was placed inside 3 nested golden coffins, each resting inside the next like a sacred puzzle. All 3 depicted Osiris, the god of the dead. Arms crossed over the chest, holding the crook and flail, symbols of eternal authority. At first glance, everything looked normal. Until researchers looked closer, the middle coffin was different. Its facial features didn't match the outer coffin. They didn't match the inner coffin. And they didn't match Tutankhamun's famous golden death mask. That discovery shocked Egyptologists. Later analysis revealed the truth. This coffin, along with several other burial items, was originally made for someone else, a mysterious ruler known as Neferneferuaten, an enigmatic female pharaoh who lived during the chaotic reign of Akhenaten, Tutankhamun's father. She vanished from history, her reign erased, her identity still debated. And it appears that when Tutankhamun died unexpectedly, officials reused her burial equipment in desperation. To make matters worse, parts of the coffin were crudely sawed off so it would fit inside the stone sarcophagus. At the bottom, archaeologists found something unthinkable. Fragments of Osiris's toes, cut off and discarded. These were not sacred acts. They were panic-driven decisions. Everything pointed to one unavoidable conclusion. Tutankhamun died suddenly, and no one was prepared. The broken king. Tutankhamun was never a strong ruler. Born from a brother and sister, royal inbreeding left him with severe genetic disorders. He suffered from a congenital clubfoot, brittle bones, chronic pain, a weakened immune system. He walked with a limp his entire life. Inside his tomb, archaeologists discovered over 130 walking canes, many visibly worn, proof they weren't ceremonial objects, but tools he relied on daily. Medical scans later revealed something else. Malaria parasites preserved in his body. Despite his fragile health, the young king refused to live cautiously. He hunted, he rode chariots, he chased danger, and that recklessness may have sealed his fate. A death that doesn't make sense. Tutankhamun's mummy shows signs of extreme trauma. A shattered leg, crushed ribs, and most disturbing of all, his heart is missing. In ancient Egypt, the heart was sacred. It was never removed. It was needed during the weighing of the heart ceremony in the afterlife, where one's soul was judged. So why was Tutankhamun buried without it? Historians believe the damage was so severe that the heart may have been destroyed entirely, which leads to one of the most chilling theories. A deadly accident? One theory suggests Tutankhamun fell from a speeding chariot, that the chariot ran over him, crushing his chest and destroying his heart. In the scorching Egyptian heat, his badly injured body may have begun decomposing rapidly. There was no time, no proper tomb, no flawless rituals, no careful mummification. Officials rushed his body to embalmers, who did what they could. Rituals were skipped, mistakes were made. The heart cavity was filled with scarab beetle amulets as a substitute. The embalming incision was massive, stretching from hip to belly, unlike any other mummy ever discovered. And then, something unbelievable happened. The mummy that caught fire. Decades later, forensic scientists made a horrifying discovery. Tutankhamun's mummy had been burned. In a Channel 4 documentary, researchers recreated the embalming conditions and found the truth. The embalmers had used an excessive amount of oils and resins, substances that soaked into the linen wrappings. Inside the sealed coffin, these chemicals reacted with oxygen. The result? Spontaneous combustion. Tutankhamun's body literally caught fire inside his coffin. Not a curse, not sabotage, just negligence, frozen in time. So, was the curse real? Many people associated with the tomb did die afterward, including Lord Carnarvon. But when scientists looked closer, the pattern fell apart. The average age of those who died was over 74. Carnarvon died of pneumonia, something he'd battled for years. Howard Carter, the man most cursed, lived 16 more years. Egyptologists also remind us that ancient Egyptians didn't believe in curses the way modern people imagine them. Thousands of other tombs have been opened with no supernatural consequences. So, was it a curse or coincidence, magnified by fear and headlines? A pharaoh full of mysteries. More than a century later, Tutankhamun still refuses to give up his secrets. Scientists can't agree on how he died. Historians debate his burial. And every new scan raises more questions than answers. For a king who ruled for less than 10 years, he left behind a lifetime of mysteries. In a strange way, his story feels less like a royal legend and more like a tragic dark comedy. Honestly, he had more accidents, mishaps, and bad luck than Mr. Bean. So here's a question for you. If there were ever a comedy movie about Tutankhamun, what would it be called? If you enjoyed this deep dive into ancient mysteries, hidden history, and unexplained events, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss stories like this.